Hey, Shalom, it's your brother Yuwanathan. All right, first and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rakahakwadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught us this truth and rule well. I want to say Shalom to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth in sincerity. All right, may the blessing of election be upon your house. Now, I looked up a bunch of these dates, but I also put it in Google, as you can see on the screen here. Give me a list, all right, of countries, the small hats, and you know who that's code for, of small hats, all right, a list of countries the small hats were expelled from 1100 to 1900. And this is the answer that Google gave me. It said from 1100 to 1900, the small hat people were expelled from countries including England, France, Spain, and various other locations in Europe and beyond. And there were certain practices they were doing in these countries that were destabilizing these countries, poisoning the conduct or the moral compass of the people. And the leaders of these countries at those times were like, these guys got to get out of here. It was a reoccurring theme. Okay, so the small hat people, they eventually came up with a scheme to defend their degeneracy wherever they went. Okay, you got a man by the name of Meyer Amschel Bauer, okay, who started the Red Shield Bank, Rothschild. All right, and he sent his sons to these various countries, and they finagled their way to control the money of these nations. All right, so they no longer could just be rounded up and expelled out of lands like they were. Okay, look at their track record. Okay, and these were Edomites expelling other Edomites out of their own lands. All right, Amalek would be the head tribe of the Edomites. All right, and this is their track record. This is their credit score. Wherever they go, man, degeneracy follows, like it talks about in Habakkuk 2. All right. Death and hell follow this man, those conditions. But I got a couple clips for you guys that I'm going to run. One of them is from Riza Islam. Now, we don't believe in the same God. I don't agree with what he's striving for. Okay. I'm about the business of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. But the things that he said in the clip were true, and hopefully some edification you can get from it. Got some other clips as well. So with no further ado, let's run them.
You about to look at this. First thing, go back to Europe and look at the history of the Jewish families all throughout Europe first. Talking about the 1200s, 1300s, 1400s, etc. Let's go European, white. Jews were kicked out of Spain. They were kicked out of Maine. They were kicked out of Portugal. They were kicked out of Vienna. They were kicked out of Romania. They were kicked out of multiple European nations by their own Caucasian brethren for doing the same things they're doing now. Sharp practices, manipulations of insurance, manipulation of contracts. These are the things that they were kicked out from their own people for doing. During 1492 in Spain, you have King Ferdinand, Queen Isabella, which connected to Jewish bloodlines. You have Mr. Cristobal Colon, also known as Cristoforo Colombo, also known as Christopher Columbus, Spanish and Jewish. That's the other hidden side of his history. He was funded by them. During that time, 300,000 Jews were being kicked out of Spain. We have to be mindful that this is not something that's a black and Jewish thing. This is, hey, this happened with them and their people. Just like they said, well, y'all people sold you into slavery. Well, y'all people kicked you out. Let's be clear here. That's for the people who need a historical reference. Reza named some books. The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, book 1, 2, and 3. Book 1 goes over the historical side of it, what I just mentioned. Their historical connection to not only the slave trade, but to the financial systems that were established and what they were doing. Then book 2 goes into how they took over business and economics of the black dollar and all that kind of stuff, the sugar cane, the cotton, the tobacco, how they were selling us from plantation to plantation as the auctioneers, all that kind of stuff. And then book 3 goes into the foundation of what they believe when it comes to the ADL with their founder, or the person who was the martyr, which is Leo Frank, who was a Jewish man who in the early 1900s raped a little white girl, 13, 14 years old, He tried to blame it on the black janitor. And what occurred then? They found out, no, it wasn't that black man. It was you. White people brought him to court. White people found him guilty. White people put him in jail. He tried to blame it on the black man and they wouldn't take that. I believe it was a pencil factory. A white mob came in, broke him out of jail and hung him. That is when the ADL was born, the Anti-Defamation League, the organization that is to fight for Jewish people, Jewish rights, and to protect Jewish people. They were founded based off of a rapist because he was Jewish. So good, bad, right or wrong, he's Jewish. No, you should separate yourself like you try to have us separate from our people.
Yes.
Well, your friend is anti-Semitic. Yeah. You know, Riz Islam, do you know him? Well, you were with an anti-Semite. No.
Denounce him.
Denounce him. Denounce Leo Frame.
Yes.
Is this image anti-Semitic? Let's talk about why coins have ridges on the side. Most modern coins don't have the ridges anymore because coins are valueless. Now they're just chunks of metal. Back in the day, your coin was silver. Genuine silver. During these times, how much of the coin that was present was important because the silver content of the coin gave it its value. In present times, if your economy goes bust, your coins are useless. You cannot trade with it, as its value only came from what the ruling government has set. This does not apply to other countries and governments. Now, if you had 10 silver coins and your society collapsed, you can go barter those coins elsewhere, as it would still hold value. So Jews back in the day would clip these silver coins. They'd clip a little bit of silver off the coin and then go spend it. Eventually, they'd amass a large portion of silver clippings, which they then can smelt into a new coin. For those who don't know, Jews were kicked out of a country for doing this in the year 1290, which wasn't long after they were kicked out of France for their Talmud practices in 1240. On July 18, 1290, King Edward passed a royal decree named the Edict of Expulsion, where 300 Jews were sentenced to death for child sacrifices and coin clipping, which led to interference with the currency. You're welcome to fact-check me on this, but all the evidence is online.
All right, Malachi 1:4. It says, whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. They built this society up, and they're trying to put the little cherry on top, transferring over to this digital system to where they'll have complete control of the people. All right? They've positioned themselves to have free reign, to do the evil, the degeneracy, to push it the way they always have. Okay? They've always been the border of wickedness. It says, whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. They shall call them the border of wickedness. Who fits this description? When you go in the scriptures, it describes the state that the wicked would be in, and it describes the state of being that the righteous chosen people, the people who have the contract with the master of the universe, it describes the state that they would be in. They would be under the curses. They wouldn't have control over all the major industries. Their faces wouldn't be on the money. They wouldn't be lending money to countries. Who's doing this? Okay, the scriptures, again, it gives you a checklist to identify the characters in the Lord's movie. All right, right there in the middle of the verse, it says, they shall build, but I will throw down. They shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever. And indignation is a righteous anger or hatred. It's justified. The things that they do. They've always been a sadistic and dark people. But they found a way in this time, in our time, to cloak it as uprightness, to be justified in doing so. But it's all going to be exposed and torn down. As you see with the reels that I put up, those aren't people who necessarily know the fullness of the truth. They may know of the Hebrew Israelites, but they don't know the truth. But they know about the wicked. So inquisition, like it talks about in 2 Ezra 6 and 18, is being made of the wicked. And the people who could pinpoint the fullness of the matter is the prophets. All right? They are the antagonists of the movie. And the Lord created them to play that role. All right, let's go to Proverbs 29, in 16. All right, it reads, it says, when the wicked are multiplied, transgression increaseth, but the righteous shall see their fall. So, they look like they're moving forward with their plans, like they're going to get to set up, their new world. Okay. They're the great value version of what we get day one. But we're going to see their fall. Everything they're doing is going exactly how the Lord said it would go, which builds our faith. Seeing things play out exactly to the T, to the script. That increases our confidence and our boldness to know the Lord. He's not a power that he should lie. This is an exciting time to see all these prophecies playing out, to see World War III playing out, to see America stepping on all its allies' toes, setting up Obadiah for those that are at peace with them to turn against them. Everything's playing out the prophecy. Man, if you're not excited in this time, you need to check your pulse, your spiritual pulse, that is. The Lord is getting ready to do something really big. So with that being said, I want to give all praises once more to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rekah HaKodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught us the truth and rule well. And shalom to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth in sincerity. May the blessing of election be upon your house. Shalom.